Well, here we are. We've just got 2 more weeks, this week and next week, and we are finished with this course. So I feel like we've been going hard at it. Now, some of you have got a little bit to catch up, but I think you can do it. Let's talk about what you should have already completed by now. All the reading quizzes up through 6B should have been completed. The lecture quizzes, number 1 through 5. And I want to encourage you that if you haven't done well in one of these quizzes, the reading quizzes or the lecture quizzes, be sure to go back and have a second attempt. Now, let's suppose you took 2 attempts, particularly on the lecture quizzes, and you completely blew it. Well, first of all, there's a trick, and I hope you figured out on the lecture quizzes that in a lecture, usually the 1 or 2 before that lecture quiz, I give you a review. That if you go back and go to that review and actually have it ready, you can get a 10 almost every time on the lecture quizzes. So again, if you go back and you've totally blown both attempts and you'd like another shot, I'd be happy to consider that, all right? So let me know. And if you've only taken 1 attempt and done poorly, please certainly do that second attempt. Now let me go back and talk about the reading quizzes. What's important for you to know, and this is in your syllabus, that I will take the top 10 of your reading quizzes. So if you get 10s all the way through, I guess theoretically you don't have to keep taking them. But the point is if you keep going, but just know that don't panic, but because I'll only take the top 10. Now again, if you haven't caught up and are not up to date with the reading quizzes, be sure to go back and do them. And again, I can't overemphasize the importance. When you're reading, use the reading guide. Go through, fill that in as you're reading. That'll draw you to the important points that will be asked on that reading quiz. And I think some of you have noticed that if you do the reading quiz, the reading guide, then the reading quiz, you do very well every time on those reading quizzes. The discussion boards, some of you are doing great on that. Stay with it. I noticed you had quite a discussion about 1 Corinthians 7, about Paul's perspective on marriage and sexual intimacy. I was always intrigued by that. Also, I noticed some of you had an interesting lot of comments on the second coming. Not many of you seem to be familiar with what is known as the rapture. And I'll probably consider discussing that more, particularly when we come to the book of Revelation. Now, you should have completed the Palestine map. That's worth 10 points, although if you do it now, it's probably take at least 1 or 2 points off for being late. But don't ignore it, even though it was way back when, so to speak. I'd encourage you to go back, get it done. Some points is better than no points. Also, a few of you haven't completed exam 1 or the map 1 test. Again, go back and do those. Don't wait for the very last week. Get those things done. Complete the exam, the first exam and the first map, and do the very best you can. And because again, time is running out, and I will be under the gun, so to speak, when we finish this course. I won't have extra time. I have to turn the grades in, so I don't want you to think that, okay, we'll finish this course and I'll have a week or 2 to do it. You won't. You'll only have maybe a day or 2, and that'll be by grace, so to speak. So get everything caught up that we have done so far. We're on the downhill slope, that's for sure. In fact, you can see the finish line if you look out there. Let me just review again the discussion boards. Most of you are doing great. I noticed some of you actually seem to do an extra discussion board, which is fine, except I'll only grade 3 of them. So if you see a 0 on one of them, you say, why did I get a 0? It's probably because it was a 4th post. In other words, there's a total of 3 posts for every discussion. The first one is your own post, your own response to the question, and then you respond to only 2 other students. Some of you have responded to 3, and some have been short responses. That's fine. Again, you can respond to as many of the students you want, but I'll only grade your initial response and 2 responses to the two other students. Another thing I want to encourage you, I do take off for spelling sometimes. For instance, the word Bible is always capitalized. The word Christian, the word God is always capitalized. Again, you've done pretty well because I want at least a minimum of 150 words per discussion board, per post, and you've all been pretty good with that. I've only seen a couple of times when some have been less than 150 words. Again, correct spelling and grammar is important. I hate to take points off for that purpose, but by and large, the discussions have been very interesting, and I hope you've enjoyed them. All right, let's talk about what's coming up this week and next week, and then we're finished. We've got Paul's World Map that is due this week, so be sure to get that completed and turned in. If you do it in the first part of the week, and I can check it and perhaps get it back, let you know there's a few things that need to be corrected. I'll let you know that anyway, but at the end of this week I won't be adjusting grades in a sense as I have been up until now. So definitely get that Paul's map taken care of. You can use the internet, use old maps, don't use the current names or anything like that. Be sure to download the map key and then post it on Moodle. Even if you send it to me as an email, post it also on Moodle for me. That would be very helpful. Also this week you have the last lecture quiz, number 6. Again, I generally have pointed out the lecture where there is a review for that lecture quiz. So be sure to go back and check that out and have that on hand as you're taking that lecture quiz. Now coming up next week you have the New Testament book quiz. That means you need to memorize as best you can the books of the New Testament in order and with correct spelling. You'll have a timed period where you'll have to type them out. You'll do this on Moodle. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, etc. So you want to prepare for that. That will be given next week on Moodle. So it's not really a hard one because obviously you'll be able to glance at the list which you want to have available. But if you really want to do it right, just do it totally from memory. That'll be of value to you in the future. Some of you might have already done it. And then of course we'll have the final map test. And again, you can use your map to fill that in as you did on the first map test, and then you'll have your final exam, which will be just over the lectures since exam 1. So if you have any questions at any time, please let me know. I'm going to try to send an email to some of you about what you need to catch up. But again, if you have any questions about your grade or what you need to do to get caught up, please let me know. With regard to discussion boards, some of you need to catch up on those. I have no way really of knowing whether you've done them or not. So what's very important, particularly if you're catching up a lot of discussion boards, would be to email me and say I've done these discussion boards and so forth, so I can be sure not to miss them, because if I miss them on Moodle, I won't grade them. And the quizzes and so forth, I can tell whether you've done those or not, but not the discussion boards. I just have to see them myself. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed the course. If you have any questions, certainly beyond the course personally, feel free to email me. Some of you, I know one student said, boy, I'd like to learn more about this topic or whatever. Don't hesitate to email me, and I'll be happy to send you a personal email, or if you'd like to even get together sometime, be happy to do that also. All right, so I wish you well, and share a few thoughts about Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1 in the next slide. I'd like to take just a few moments to share with you from a verse in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, about your purpose in life. What is your purpose in life? What do you hope for in your lifetime? Do you believe that the Lord has put this hope in your heart? And then, if you do you believe that He will make that hope come about? Now, when you accept Jesus Christ, when you put your faith in Him, you can ask the question, Lord, what is your purpose for my life? Now, the first purpose, of course, is that you would give your life to Him. Then after that, He has a purpose for you to do with Him
and he wants to do through you, which is very, very exciting. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, it reads this way: Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. I like to put it this way: faith in Jesus Christ leads us to having a deep hope, a hope that gives us life and excitement, that energizes us. Faith in Jesus. And it's not something we sort of hope happens. It's more of a know-so hope. We know this is going to happen. I know the Lord is going to do this with and through me. It's being certain of what we do not see. It hasn't happened yet, but I believe it's going to happen. That's the faith that is written about in the book of Hebrews. Now, Hebrews 11 is what is known as the Hall of Faith. Could be called the faith chapter if you wish. But it's a wonderful, wonderful chapter indeed. So that's some thoughts to think about. I believe the Bible is exceptionally relevant for today, perfect in every way, and the book of Hebrews is one of those books.